Hello everyone, welcome. I hope you all are doing well. Today in this video we are going to study English literature. A new chapter, that is the Talkative Barber. Children, this is the story of a barber who just could not stop talking. Instead of doing his work, he was talking continuously and really annoyed the Sultan. In the city of Kashgar lived a barber who was a great talker. Once, the Sultan called the barber to shave his head. The barber started talking non-stop instead of shaving him. The Sultan got angry. So children, in the city of Kashgar, there lived a barber who was very talkative. One day, the Sultan called him to shave his head, but instead of doing his work, he was talking non-stop, which made the Sultan angry. "When are you going to stop talking and begin to do your work?" The barber replied, "You do me an injury by calling me a chatterer." Chatterer means one who talks a lot. For everyone says that I am very quiet. I have 6 brothers whom you might call chatterers. Their names are Bagban, Bagbarya, Bagbak, Ulkuz, Ulnashi and Shakabak. One is humpbacked, one is toothless, one is half blind, one is quite blind and one is deaf. And the other has defect in his speech and they are great talkers. Defect means a fault. But I am the youngest of my family and I am very quiet and sparing with words. When the Sultan asked him that when is he going to stop talking and begin his work, the barber told him that he had 6 brothers and all of them were great chatterers. And he himself was not talkative. This went on and on. The barber kept telling stories to the Sultan. "Give him 3 pieces of gold," the Sultan cried, losing all patience, "and send him away. I will not be shaved today." "My master," cried the barber, "it was not I who came to seek you. It was you who ordered me to come. So I will not quit your house till I have shaved you." Now children, the Sultan lost all his patience and told his men to give the barber 3 pieces of gold and send him away. But the barber refused to leave until he had shaved his head. He then began narrating another story which lasted half an hour. "Stop making your fine speeches and let me go quickly. I have an affair of the greatest importance. I have to go out at noon," said the Sultan. Now children, when he began narrating another story, the Sultan told him that he has to go for he has an important affair. Affair means event. When he saw that the Sultan was really angry with him, the barber said, "Oh master, do not be angry. I will begin to shave you." Saying this, he washed the Sultan's head and began to shave. But he had not touched him even 4 times with the razor when he stopped and said, "My master, you are acting hastily in this matter. Go on shaving me. Speak no more," ordered the Sultan. So children, on seeing that the Sultan is really angry, he started doing his work. He washed the Sultan's head and began to shave. But he had not touched the razor even 4 times when he stopped and said that the Sultan was acting hastily in that matter. Hastily means quickly. The Sultan ordered him to go on shaving. "Be patient," said the barber. "Perhaps you have not considered well what you were going to do. I wish you would tell me what this matter of great importance is all about, and then I will give you my opinion on it." Opinion means one's feeling about a person, thing or subject. "Finish shaving at once," the Sultan exclaimed. But instead of doing this, the barber left the Sultan half-shaved to go and see what time it was. My patience is exhausted, the Sultan cried. Exhausted means tired and fed up. Now, children, on being scolded by the Sultan, the barber asked him to be patient and inquired about his matter of great importance so that he could give his opinion on it. The Sultan ordered him again to finish shaving at once, but instead of doing so, the barber went to see what time it was. "Be calm, my master, and you shall be shaved in a moment," said the barber, and saying this, he continued shaving the Sultan. But while he was doing this, he could not stop talking. "If you could inform me what this important affair is, I would give more advice, which you might find useful," he said. So, children, while shaving the Sultan, the barber continued asking about his important affair so that he could give his advice to the Sultan. The Sultan was completely fed up by now and decided to satisfy the barber. He told him that he was giving a feast to some friends at noon, which was why he was in a hurry to leave. When the barber heard the Sultan mention a feast, he exclaimed, "That reminds me, yesterday I invited 4 or 5 friends to come to my house today, but I had quite forgotten it and have not made any preparations for them." Children, the Sultan, who was completely fed up by now, mentioned that he was giving a feast to some of his friends. Feast means a large meal. Now the barber also recollected that he had also invited 4 or 5 of his friends but forgotten to make any preparations for them. The Sultan, who was at the mercy of the barber, was ready to do anything to be rid of him. "Be quick and finish your work," the Sultan replied, "and you shall have all the food that has been prepared for me today. Please show me the food so that I may judge if it is enough for my 5 friends." "I have enough food for you," the Sultan exclaimed. But he ordered that all the food prepared for his feast be brought in. So, children, the Sultan, who wanted to get rid of the barber, offered him all the food that had been prepared for the feast. But the barber wanted to see that the food was enough for his friends or not. So the Sultan ordered that all the food prepared for his feast be brought in. The barber looked over the food and said, "This is very good, but I shall want some fruit for the dessert also." The Sultan, in desperation, since his head was half-shaved, ordered the fruits should also be brought in. Now, children, after looking over all the food, the barber asked him for the dessert also, which he had to serve after the dinner. Dessert means a sweet dish. Now, the Sultan agreed to that also. He ordered that the fruits should also be brought in. The barber left off shaving the Sultan to examine each dish separately. This took up half an hour. The Sultan stamped his feet impatiently, but the barber did not hurry. At length, however, he again took up the razor, but after a few minutes of work, stopped suddenly and cried, "I never knew you were so generous." Now, children, can you imagine what happened in the end? The barber left the Sultan half-shaved to examine the food. Examine means to check carefully, which took another half an hour. The Sultan stamped his feet impatiently. Stamp means brought down foot heavily on the ground. However, after some time, the barber again took up the razor for a few minutes, but stopped suddenly and said, "I never knew you were so generous." Generous means unselfish. So, children, from this chapter, we learn that speaking without reason is useless. So, We should speak only when it is required. That is why it is said that if speech is silver, then silence is gold. Children, I hope that you have understood the chapter. Okay, children, thank you and stay safe, everyone.